When you hug a woman, the very first thing she feels is not the warmth of your body, but the energy you carry into that embrace. A man who hugs with hesitation, who comes in with shaky, unsure movements, communicates instantly that he doubts himself. That kind of hesitation is a signal that tells her you're not grounded in who you are, and whether she consciously notices it or not, her instincts pick up on it. Women are unbelievably sensitive to confidence, not just in the way you speak, but in the way you move, breathe, and touch. That's why the way you hold her matters so much more than you may realize. A confident hug is not about squeezing too hard or holding on like you'll never let go. It's about being present, calm, and intentional. When you wrap your arms around her, she should feel as though she is being drawn into a safe space where her guard can drop. That sense of security is what makes her melt into you and want more of your presence. Imagine for a moment a hug that is limp, arms barely touching her, your body pulled back as if you're afraid of doing something wrong. That hug leaves her feeling more awkward than desired. It shows uncertainty. But now imagine the opposite. You step into her space without hesitation, you place your arms around her with calm assurance, and you let your body language say, "I'm here and I've got you." That doesn't mean being aggressive, it means being steady. The hug should feel natural, as if you belong there. That level of confidence makes her feel wanted without you having to speak a single word. Confidence in a hug is also about control of your own energy. If you're tense or nervous, she feels that tension immediately. Women are emotional receivers. They pick up on subtle shifts in energy that most men overlook. If your hug is stiff because you're overthinking it, she feels that stiffness as discomfort. But if you relax your shoulders, breathe slowly, and hold her with ease, she feels that relaxation pass into her body too. It's almost like you're transferring calmness into her system. That's what makes her lean into you and trust you more. A confident hug turns into a conversation without words, and that conversation says, "You're safe with me, and you're wanted." Now, part of holding her with confidence is also about posture. When you hug her, you want to stand tall, not slouched. Your chest should meet hers because the chest is where emotions are exchanged. A man who hugs with his upper body pulled back and only his arms around her creates distance, even in closeness. But when you hug chest to chest with steady strength, she feels your heartbeat, your warmth, and your masculinity. That closeness communicates presence and connection in a way no casual hug can. There's another subtle thing about confident hugs. They carry intention. If you hug her like you would hug a family member or a friend, she will only feel platonic energy. But if your intention is attraction, you don't need to exaggerate it. You just need to allow that masculine presence to flow through the hug. Confidence means you don't shy away from letting her feel that you're a man and she's a woman. It's not forced. It's not rushed. It's natural because deep down she wants to feel that polarity. She wants to know that when she's in your arms, she can surrender her guard because you're strong enough to hold her. But here's where many men go wrong. They confuse confidence with force. They think a strong hug means squeezing too tightly or holding on too long. In reality, that comes across as needy or overpowering. A truly confident hug has a balance, sits firm but not suffocating. It's secure but not desperate. You're not clinging to her because you're afraid of losing her. You're holding her because you know you belong there, and you're comfortable enough to let go when the moment is right. That balance is what makes her crave the next hug, because it leaves her curious and wanting more. Think about it. If you hug her and release too quickly, she feels like you're nervous or unsure, as if you couldn't wait to get it over with. On the other hand, if you hold her too long without any sense of timing, she feels smothered. Confidence is about sensing the rhythm of the hug, knowing when to linger just long enough for her to feel your presence deeply, and when to release with calm assurance. That natural timing makes her feel your strength, and it leaves her thinking about you even after you've let go. A hug is one of the simplest gestures, but when done with true confidence, it becomes one of the most powerful ways to build attraction. Without saying a word, you can make her feel safe, desired, and connected. Every woman wants to feel like the man she's with is secure in himself, that he doesn't second, guess his actions, or shrink back out of fear. When you hug her with confidence, you prove that you can lead the moment without hesitation. That leadership draws her in because it reassures her feminine energy that she can relax and trust you. Confidence in a hug also shows respect. It tells her you're not trying to prove anything, you're not overcompensating, and you're not trying to hide insecurity. You're simply present, and presence is rare. Most men are so distracted by their thoughts, their anxieties, or their need to impress that they forget the simple truth. Attraction grows strongest in silence, in stillness, in the way you carry yourself without trying. A hug that communicates I'm here, fully with you, and I'm not afraid to show it, is a hug that lingers in her memory long after it ends. So when you next embrace a woman, don't overthink it, don't rush it, don't let hesitation creep into your body. Step into that moment with calm assurance. Wrap your arms around her with steady strength. Breathe slowly. Let her feel your grounded energy. Hold her with the confidence of a man who knows his value and isn't afraid to show it. That kind of hug doesn't just make her feel good in the moment, it makes her want you more because it awakens something deep inside her, the desire to be held by a man she can trust, a man who doesn't hesitate, a man who knows exactly what he's doing. And when you can give her that, the hug becomes more than just contact. It becomes connection, attraction, and the spark that keeps her wanting more. When you hug a woman, words are not what stay with her. What lingers is the energy you carry into that moment, because women feel far more than they analyze. They read you through your presence, your touch, your breathing, the way your body leans in without rushing. That's why when you hug her, it isn't about saying something clever or filling the silence. It's about letting your energy speak for you. The truth is, most men underestimate how much a woman can sense without a single word being exchanged. She can feel if you're nervous, if you're trying too hard, if you're holding back, or if you're fully centered and comfortable in yourself. That subtle awareness is always active, and it shapes how she feels about you in ways she may never be able to explain. Your energy is something you carry before the hug even begins. If you approach her with jittery movements, darting eyes, or shallow breathing, you've already told her that you're uneasy. That uneasiness transfers to her, but if you approach with calm steps, relaxed shoulders, and steady eyes, she senses security. Women don't just respond to touch, they respond to presence. Presence is what allows her to relax in your arms and want to stay there longer. If you're grounded in yourself, she feels grounded too. If you're restless, she feels restless. So, the key is not about trying to fake something, but about embodying the calm energy of a man who is at ease in his own skin. Think of it this way: when you breathe slowly and deeply during a hug, she naturally sinks to your rhythm. She feels your chest rise and fall, and without thinking, her own body adjusts to match it. That kind of silent influence is powerful because it tells her, I am steady, I am centered, and you can lean into this. Most men miss how much something as simple as breathing matters, but for her, it's the difference between feeling like she's hugging a boy who doesn't know what to do and a man who carries himself with certainty. Energy also shows up in the way you use your touch. A nervous hand that fidgets, pats her back awkwardly, or trembles ever so slightly communicates self-doubt. But a hand that rests with calm assurance says something entirely different. When you place your hand gently but firmly on her back or waist, you're telling her without words, I've got you. And that message goes straight to her emotions, bypassing logic completely. That's why women remember certain hugs even years later. It wasn't about what was said, it was about what was felt. You don't have to put on an act or force something unnatural. Women are experts at detecting forced energy. If you try to project confidence while you're secretly overthinking every move, she feels the disconnection. True energy is about alignment, your mind, body, and emotions working together without conflict. When you're centered, you don't have to do much. Your stillness speaks louder than any exaggerated gesture ever could. Silence, when paired with grounded energy, is louder than words. When your energy is calm and intentional, she leans into you. That's instinct. She feels drawn into your space because it feels safe, but not boring. There's a difference between being calm and being lifeless. Calm energy has depth. It holds quiet strength, subtle desire, and unwavering presence. Lifeless energy, on the other hand, feels flat, like there's nothing there to connect with. The key is to let her feel that you are both steady and alive. That spark beneath the surface is what makes her heart race even when nothing is being said. The beauty of letting your energy speak is that it removes pressure from the moment. You don't need to wonder, should I say this, should I move now, should I let go? Instead, you trust that your energy is guiding the experience. You feel her body, her breathing, her slight shifts, and you naturally respond without needing to think. That fluid exchange of energy makes the hug feel organic and unforgettable. She won't even realize why she's still thinking about it later. It's because she felt something deeper than just arms around her. Letting your energy speak also means you're not rushing. Nervous men rush hugs, as if they can't handle the intimacy of silence. But rushing robs the moment of its magic. Women notice when you're trying to escape the intimacy too quickly, and it makes them feel like you're uncomfortable with closeness. When you hold the space calmly, when you breathe and let her sink into it, she feels that you can handle intimacy without flinching. That assurance makes her want you more, because it tells her you're a man who can stay present instead of retreating. Every hug carries a silent message, and the woman you're holding is listening closely, not with her ears, but with her heart. If your energy is scattered, the message she hears is, I'm not sure of myself. If your energy is calm and steady, the message is, you can trust me. If your energy carries that subtle spark of masculine desire without desperation, the message becomes, I want you, but I'm not needy. Those unspoken messages are far more powerful than any words you could whisper in her ear. A hug is not just about physical closeness. It's about emotional transmission. Your energy moves from you to her, and hers moves back into you. That's why sometimes you feel an instant connection in a hug, and other times it feels awkward and hollow. The difference is in the alignment of energy. When you hug her with grounded confidence, calm breathing, intentional touch, and quiet strength, you create an energetic loop that she doesn't want to break. That loop is what makes her think of you long after you've stepped away. So instead of focusing on what to say or how to impress her, focus on your energy. Center yourself, slow your breath, step into the hug with calm assurance, let your body language speak for you. Let the silence carry weight instead of awkwardness, because when you master the art of letting your energy speak, you realize you don't need words to make her feel wanted, desired, and safe. You just need to be present enough for her to feel it. When you hug a woman, there is a fine line between giving her comfort and sparking desire, and it's in balancing these two energies that real attraction grows. Most men fall too far on one side or the other. They either hug in a way that feels purely friendly and brotherly, or they hold her with so much tension and hunger that it feels overwhelming. Neither of those extremes works if what you want is to make her feel both safe and drawn to you. The key is to create a hug that soothes her heart, while at the same time awakening a subtle spark of curiosity, a pull she can't quite explain but can't ignore either. Think of comfort as the foundation of the hug, Every woman wants to feel that when she steps into your arms, she can let go of the constant pressure she carries in her life. She wants to feel her shoulders relax, her guard drop, and her body soften because your presence gives her that freedom. If she feels unsafe, awkward, or tense in your hug, no spark of desire will grow. Attraction starts with safety. That's why your embrace must carry a calm warmth, a steady strength that tells her, you don't have to think right now, you don't have to be on guard, just let me hold you. That message of comfort comes through in the way you breathe, the steadiness of your hands, and the relaxed way you allow her to fit against you. But comfort alone is not enough if you want her to feel something deeper. A purely comfortable hug, one that's too neutral, too soft, too much like hugging a family member, creates closeness without attraction. It can even push you into the friend zone because while she may enjoy it, she doesn't feel that underlying polarity that separates a romantic embrace from a friendly one. That's where the subtle spark of desire comes in. The spark is not about gripping her tightly or holding on with intensity. It's about allowing just enough of your masculine energy to be felt through the hug that she knows she's being held by a man who sees her as a woman. That spark might be in the way you let your chest press against hers instead of keeping a gap, in the way your hand rests firmly at the small of her back instead of hovering politely on her shoulder, in the way your presence carries stillness but also a quiet heat. You're not trying to take from her. You're not rushing or forcing anything, but you are allowing her to feel that you are not neutral about her. That awareness makes her heartbeat quicken even if she doesn't fully understand why. Desire is not loud, it's quiet, steady, and undeniable. When you hug her, you don't need to make it obvious. Women are incredibly sensitive to nuance, and they can pick up on the slightest shift in energy. That means even a simple change in the firmness of your hand, the closeness of your body, or the stillness in your breathing can completely alter the way she experiences that hug. When she feels that mix of comfort and desire, her body relaxes into yours while her mind wonders, what is this feeling? That curiosity is what keeps her thinking of you long after you've let go. Balance is everything. If the hug tips too far into comfort without desire, it becomes forgettable. If it tips too far into desire without comfort, it becomes uncomfortable. But when you balance the two, you create a perfect polarity where she feels safe yet slightly on edge, soothed yet stirred. That polarity is magnetic. It makes her feel like she's experiencing something she doesn't want to end. Another important part of this balance is how long you hold her. A quick, stiff hug communicates nothing but formality. An overly long, clingy hug communicates neediness. But a hug that lingers just long enough to let her feel both comfort and spark, then ends with calm confidence, creates longing. It leaves her feeling the warmth of your embrace even after you've stepped back, and it makes her wish you hadn't let go so soon. Timing communicates intent just as much as touch does, and mastering that rhythm is what separates a forgettable hug from one she replays in her mind again and again. The subtle spark of desire also comes through in the way you stay present. If your mind is elsewhere, if you're thinking about what to say next or worrying about how she'll react, the hug loses its impact. Presence is powerful because it tells her you're fully with her in that moment, not distracted or second, guessing yourself. That presence, combined with your grounded energy, makes her feel both emotionally held and physically desired. She won't describe it in those terms. She'll just say you made her feel something she can't quite put into words. And that's exactly the point. What many men don't realize is that women want this balance. They want to feel safe, but they also want to feel like they are with a man who sees them as feminine, as attractive, as desirable. When you hug with only comfort, you rob her of that feminine experience. When you hug with only desire, you overwhelm her and break her trust. But when you blend the two seamlessly, you give her the kind of hug that touches both her heart and her body, both her emotions and her instincts. That's why the memory of it lingers. It's not about technique or some trick. It's about your inner state. If you're calm, grounded, and confident, she feels comfort. If you allow your masculine polarity to be present instead of hiding it, she feels desire. Together, those two energies create attraction. So when you hold her, don't think of it as just a hug. Think of it as a conversation where you're saying two things at once. You're safe here, and I see you as a woman. That dual message is irresistible. When you master this, you realize that a hug can be far more powerful than any clever line or flashy move. A hug with the right balance can make her think about you all day, wondering why she can't shake the feeling you gave her. It's not because of what you said, it's because of what you made her feel. And that feeling is what keeps her coming back for more. And when you can give her that feeling every time you hold her, you don't just hug her body, you capture her heart. The timing of a hug often matters just as much as the hug itself. You can approach with confidence, carry the right energy, and even balance comfort with desire. But if you misjudge when to let go, the entire moment can either lose its magic or leave the perfect impression. Women are deeply intuitive, and they can feel whether you're holding on because you're confident in the moment or because you're afraid to let go. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything about how she perceives you. When you release too quickly, it communicates nervousness. It's as if you wanted the hug, but couldn't handle the intimacy for more than a second. That quick release makes her feel that you weren't comfortable with closeness, and instead of leaving her thinking about you, it leaves her wondering why you couldn't handle her presence. On the other hand, if you cling too long without intention, it comes across as needy or overbearing. A woman doesn't want to feel like you're holding on out of desperation, as if you're trying to get something out of her. That kind of energy makes her feel smothered rather than desired. The key lies in sensing the moment. A confident hug lingers just long enough to make her feel secure, cared for, and slightly stirred, but it ends with calm control. You don't rush out of it, but you also don't drag it on endlessly. You let her feel that you're fully present while you're holding her, and then you pull back with the same confidence you entered with. That balance leaves her wanting more, because you gave her just enough to awaken her feelings without overwhelming them. It's the same principle as attraction in general. You never want to give everything all at once. Mystery and restraint are powerful. A well-timed hug is like music. There's rhythm, there's flow, there's a beginning, a build, and an ending that leaves her humming the tune even after it's over. If you let go at the right moment, you create space for her to miss your presence, and missing you is exactly what makes her crave you more. A man who knows when to step in and when to step back communicates a kind of self-assurance that women can't resist. It shows that you're not desperate for her affection, but that you're fully capable of giving her a taste of your presence and then walking away with confidence. That composure leaves a stronger impression than trying to cling to her for as long as possible. It also allows her to feel that you are in control of yourself. A woman wants to sense that the man she's with isn't being run by his impulses, but is instead choosing his actions with calm awareness. When you time your hug with natural flow, she sees that you're not just reacting, you're leading the moment. That leadership is attractive because it allows her to relax into her feminine energy, knowing that you're steady enough to guide the interaction. She doesn't have to think because you already know what you're doing. So the next time you embrace a woman, don't just think about how you'll hold her, think about when you'll release. Notice her body language, notice the rhythm of her breathing. Notice the way her body either leans into you or starts to shift. Trust your instincts, but always let your release carry the same confidence as your approach. That simple timing will leave her with the feeling that you didn't just hug her. You gave her an experience she'll keep replaying in her mind. And when you can do that, the hug becomes more than just a moment. It becomes a memory she doesn't want to let go of.